What's happening, everyone? Welcome to the SPORTCAST. It's me, Andy Grant. We've got Musky with us. You're not even you are the producer, but you're a...
I'll say contributor.
Contributor, okay, that's the title. Yeah, Musky's in the studio. I'm back off my holidays, and we are back in the Feathers. Feathers this weekend, you've got Chris Kinsella on Friday night. Saturday, you've got the Real Deal, and then on Sunday, you'll have Plymouth against Liverpool in the FA Cup. So make sure you get down to the Feathers this weekend again. Big thanks for the lads here for letting us use you for recording our podcast. Yeah, so thank you last week, lads, for jumping on.
No worries. Had a good time.
I actually, obviously, this is what the sport show's for, to give you a recap on sport. Because I was on holiday, I wasn't just supporting the boys, I was actually interested to know what was going on in sport. So it does work, lads.
It was good. We went to the match the day after, and some of the lads were like, "Oh yeah, the show was all right." And then one of them went, "Yeah, it was good just to not listen to Granty chat shit for an hour."
There you go. Yeah, I was waiting for someone to say, can you not just be there next week and let the lads carry on? But no, it's nice to be back. My holiday, we can just start there, by the way. Yeah. Oh my God, forget sport for a minute. Have you been to Thailand?
No.
The best place I've ever been. And listen, I'm really lucky. I've got to go to some places around the world. I'd say I'm quite, well travelled. Hands down, the best place I've ever been to. Best holiday I've ever done as well.
I mean, we wouldn't know, because you didn't fucking pepper us for the last 2 weeks with different locations and then just tagging different spots around Liverpool.
That was hilarious, that wasn't
Mark Owens was fucking bored of it though.
Yeah, he was bored, but so many people would laugh at me. I thought I was quite the comedian when I was away. So for anyone who doesn't follow me on Instagram, I was just getting these real picturesque views and then just tagging iconic places around the pool.
Did you tag the Feathers in any of them?
Yeah.
Did you?
I went to the Hangover Bar. The what's it called, the building?
From Hangover 2.
Yeah.
Is it 2 or 3?
Yeah, Hangover 2, and they're in Bangkok, and they go to that rooftop bar. I basically, went in there for a drink, but then tagged the Feathers, and people are just. But I thought it was quite.
Who was it that was on that picture with you?
The lads I met out there.
So you didn't know them before the trip or anything?
Yeah. So I was in Ibiza with them in the summer, yeah. So yeah, met up with them there. That was great. But just what a place. So we done Singapore first for 36 hours. Great place, but so expensive. And then done the rest of the time, 2 weeks in Thailand. Done 3 days in Chiang Mai up north, 3 nights in Bangkok, and then 8 nights in Phuket. But mate, I was saying this to Gary yesterday. I don't know whether I'm getting old, I don't know whether things are worsening or what, but I just feel in the UK, everywhere you turn, you're just getting bent over a barrel by raising of taxes to hospital waits to bad news coming all the time at you from different directions, politics, and everything's just everything just seems shit and expensive at the moment.
I think it's a bit of A, B, to be honest with you, lad. I think we are getting older, so we obviously have to reflect on things getting more expensive or worse and in decline and all that. So as kids we probably didn't notice stuff like that.
Maybe, yeah.
But you're not wrong in terms of if certain societies can live in a certain way, why can't others? And
yeah, and that's what I mean. So those problems about the UK are ongoing type thing, but once you then go to Thailand, I've come back, I've only been back 24 hours and I'm just sick of getting paying for everything. So
it doesn't help that it's -1 this morning as well.
It's obviously 35 degrees out there. No, but I know this is going a bit off topic now, but why is it so cheap out there? And why are we just getting absolutely bummed by the taxman and by our local councils? Everything's going up, the gas, and out there, people are just the happiest. It's just a boss country. I'm sure it's got its flaws, but when you're in holiday mode over there, I am just thinking I need to go back there ASAP.
I reckon some of our listeners can help us. I reckon Ricky Orport, who did geography in university, I reckon he'll be able to help you out on that.
Well, I want to text him after the show because I'm baffled at how a 2-hour massage, right, was 13 quid. And that's not what a happy ending, obviously. I didn't go down that route, but you go to John Lewis or something like that and sound 100 quid for 45 minutes. What? So yeah, it's just made me quite angry now that I've got back, to be honest.
So now you're going to pass that anger on to all of our listeners and viewers?
I'll just be a moody bastard for today's show. But no, do you know what I mean? I know holiday blues is one thing, but it's the cost of living side of the thing. I'm just thinking, how are some societies out there able to... You know what, it's not even that. It's the idea of just not getting value for money. Do you know what I mean? I'd say that's the best way of describing it. You just feel you're getting valued for... You're getting value for money in everything.
But on the flip side, the people who live there, have they got the amount of money that people from our society going over there have got. So their cost of living is probably still just as shit for the people who live there. If you know what I mean.
And that's what I mean. I sound like a proper typical Westerner, don't I? Want to go over there with my Western money and then live like a king type thing. I don't even mean it in that. I just mean like that idea of value for money and stuff like that. How are things so expensive here? And everything's going up all the time, isn't it? And then it was the same though in Singapore. I got a taxi from our hotel to the airport and it was 60 quid, right? We were in a car for like half an hour. When I landed in Thailand, and again it was like another 30-minute journey, £1.50.
Yeah.
It's just insane. But what a place, what a country. Weather's amazing. The elephants, the beaches, the food.
The keks.
The what?
The keks.
The keks.
Why aren't you wearing your keks today, by the way?
You know what, I'm going to start using them just as like loungewear. I'm keeping them, lad. I'm
not saying you don't keep them, I'm just saying, you know,
me too.
Be brave and bounce around bootle wearing them.
I might one day. It was a bit too cold this morning for them. I bought a pair of Crocs that I'm buzzing with, and yeah, a couple of vests, like tank tops.
I still haven't got on the Croc thing, but I have heard that they're unbelievably comfy.
They are unbelievable. And you know what, they're great for me, because I can't wear normal sliders or flip-flops because of my leg. But they've got that little bracing thing at the back, haven't they?
To clip on, yeah.
Speed mode. So, got them, got a few funky pair of elephant trousers, got a few tank tops, and I was just living my best life. I'll be honest, right, normally at the end of an holiday you're a bit like,
I'll get home.
Yeah, you want a bit of routine. Apart from missing my little girl and my dad, I could have fucking stayed up there, like. And I think I'll try and go to Southeast Asia every January now, just to get away from the weather, but two, like, obviously you've got loads of different countries around there. Just amazing. I could talk about it all day. It was just the best holiday I've ever been on.
Feeling any jet lag?
I woke up at 5 again this morning. I woke up at 5 yesterday. 4 it was. And then I ended up going to the gym at like 6 in the morning yesterday. Done a little 5k. And then I was on the move all day yesterday. So when I went to sleep last night, I woke up at 5. So I reckon by tonight I'll be alright. I was quite jet lagged on the way over there, but it hasn't been too bad.
So you're still planning on doing that half next month?
Well, that's why I've done a 5k in the gym yesterday.
Just to test the water?
Yeah. I've just got a few issues with my prosthetic at the minute though, and it's not ideal. But I'm meant to be doing it with Phil. And yeah, I'm a bit not nervous, but I just think if you train properly, it's enjoyable.
So you'd prefer to do it properly rather than having that little niggling injury and get through it rather than...
Yeah.
Or so you could potentially like try and have a goal or whatever. I think he's sub 2.
So Phil wants to do 2 hours, so we try and get Phil to under 2 hours, but I just want to get back to running and not having little niggles with my stump. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's in the end of March, isn't it? So I'm trying to do 3 runs a week now until the end of March. 2 hours is about just under 10-minute mile pace, I think, isn't it? Like 9.5. Yeah, it's all in the mind, lad. I do genuinely think that though. You know, I never get fazed by physical challenges because I just think it's so mental.
So what did you do yesterday? 25 was it?
25 minute 5k.
See, I think that's like a decent pace for me in general.
Yeah. And 3 weeks on the ale on holiday.
Exactly, lad. Yeah. So you've got that muscle memory still, probably.
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
From when you've done all your running and you even like your training from when you were in the Marines and all that kind of stuff. Your body's in okay condition that you can just.
I think so, lad. And maybe I rely on it too much, but a perfect example of it is a pull-up. I didn't realise how many people find pull-ups difficult. I've not done a pull-up in about 6 months, but I'm confident I could jump on a bar and do 10.
Yeah, no chance for me.
Yeah, how many do you reckon you could do?
I don't know. I don't think I've ever
That's what I mean.
done one,
it's
lad.
Muscle memory, I think. Yeah. Or just a mindset to know I could do it type thing. So I think the running's a bit like that for me. So, but I do want to get back into it and start enjoying it more and stuff like that. I'd love to get down with the Marsh Lane areas more, but when you have me little girl and stuff, I'm like a fucking taxi in the evenings and stuff, so it's impossible. But yeah, just on the treadmill yesterday, 5k, enjoyed it. I need to get my arse in gear now. But you know what I think helped as well? Being off the ale. I've done like 3 weeks off the ale. Those first couple of weeks of January, and it's fucking pathetic, but honestly I think that's the longest I've done off the ale in about 10 years.
Really? Yeah, fucking hell.
Well, I just never do a break off the ale.
There's always something going on.
Probably when I was in Afghan. Like that was honestly that. But when else would I have done like 3 weeks off the ale?
I don't know, just having a bit of willpower by yourself.
Do you not know me? Do you not know me? Honestly, I reckon when I was in Afghan was the last time I'd done 3 weeks off the ale.
I reckon I've only been on the ale about once or twice, and that's a few pints since January, like the start of January, and I'm not bothered in the slightest. I mean, that'll be a different story on Sunday when we go out, but...
Yeah, it's your birthday at the weekend, so we're going to be having a few then, aren't we? But, I mean, I don't feel it's bad, but then when I say it out loud, it sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's definitely bad. And if anyone wants to comment on the longest or the shortest amount of time that they've had off the ale, it's probably nowhere near as little as yours. That's a short amount of time where you think that's a challenge.
2009. It's the last time I've done more than 3 weeks. Do you know what? You've got me on one here now. I saw a reel on Instagram and it petrified me. And it was that guy off... what's Jackass, is it? What's his name?
Johnny Knoxville or Steve-O?
Steve-O.
Yeah.
Oh my God, right. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. And he basically... I think I know it off by heart. He goes... he said there's 2 types of alcoholics. And he said there's a type where, like, you cannot touch a drop. He's basically a recovering alcoholic.
Yeah, yeah.
And he said, I'm the best kind though. He went, my drinking was that bad, like, I had to stop. Like, and I cannot touch another drop. He said, I don't think that's the worst type of alcoholic. He said, the other type of alcoholic is people who drink and they're not that bad that they need to give it up, but they do enough that they just stunt any growth in their life. And I was like, fuck, that's fucking me, that. Yeah. Like, I'm not
felt like Steve was talking directly to you.
Literally, lad, yeah. This fella I used to watch on Jackass staple his ball bag to his fucking leg is giving me life advice now. No, but I thought, how true is that though? There's people and you think, you just, well, I'd say there's 3. There's like those who are proper plonky and are like, just, that's it. They just drink themselves and they die being an alcoholic. There's the ones that go, you know what, I've got a problem, I need to just stop. And then there's that third type where it's like, and I'm not saying I'm an alcoholic.
But so that's one of the things. For him, he got so bad that he had to just stop. For you, you've never been to a point where have been so bad or so down or whatever that you're like, I need to stop that. No. It's like, I enjoy myself when I'm doing it. So it's still a scary place to be. Like,
by drinking though, maybe as much as you do, like, he basically just said about you never really reach your full potential.
Well, just think, brain functionality goes down.
Totally, yeah.
Go in the gym, you feel like shit. Yeah. Like, everything that is positive always is going to get stunted by the fact that you're on the ale, because you're going to not want to get up at 6 to go to the gym. You're not going to want to be up and out. You're not going to want to eat healthy because you feel like shit. No. It all kind of like galvanises into one big problem, doesn't it, really?
It's one of the things as well, because I'm not blaming my dad, but obviously because he drinks, and then when my mum died when I was a kid,
it's a social
and
thing,
I became so close with him, yeah. I mean, that is how we, I was with him last night, standing in here, having 5 or 6 pints with him, so I really love that relationship I've got with my dad, but I think it's, and that's why I don't want to kind of give up drinking in that sense, but I do think, like, I'm not blaming my dad. My dad wasn't here. Like, I don't think I'd drink half as much. That sounds, I'm blaming him, but I fucking love having a pint with my dad, and ever since it's just been me and him, I value that relationship so much that I probably do put more effort in than maybe most people would do with their parents, you know what I mean, or whatever, I don't know, but...
Would your social time with your half fella be different if you still came to the pub but you didn't drink?
Well, no, but I did come with him when I was drinking the 0-0s and still had a great time. And don't get me wrong, we go for coffees together, we go to the gym together, we do other stuff, don't just go for a pint together. But I love having a pint with him. And I think just because I rely so much on him, I've just been and I've done since I was 12 type thing, I think that's just made me want to not kind of give up being on the air, because I love that relationship with him that much, you know what I mean? Sounds like I'm blaming him now, but I'm not, but that's my excuse anyway for having a bevy too much. But what I did learn in those 3 weeks off it, that I'm perfectly capable of coming out for a pint and not having an alcoholic one. No, you do that now and again, don't you? I'm more than happy to do that. Like,
I'm sound with it. Like, when we were growing up and stuff, going to town, I was like the driver and all that. I wasn't asked. I'd stay out till 3-4 in the morning, drive a few of the lads home or whatever. I'm actually not that bothered. It's nice to be sociable and stuff, but even like going the game the last couple of times, not being that bothered about it.
No, yeah, I definitely think I could do that and stuff, yeah. Do you know what else is? So to go back to Thailand and drinking and stuff, weed's legal out there,
Oh, is it, yeah?
So I'm partial to the odd edible. And so
have a little go?
I just had a few days where, just sat by the pool and just had an edible. Just sit there looking at the sun, just tripping out. Brilliant.
Trying to catch it.
So honestly, I think because that's probably, you just sitting there having a drink, you could have a little smoke, and you're just like in paradise. I went to that Maya Bay as well,
off
the beach.
Oh, yeah. You know what Kate said? Do you reckon that's the place off the beach? And I was like, I wouldn't have a fucking
I text Eunice, Eunice Huthart, a guest of the pod. And I just said, guess where? And she said, I know that place.
Straight away.
Obviously, so when she does the jump and the waterfall, that was Eunice.
Yeah, I remember watching that show,
So obviously we didn't see the bit where they do the jump and the waterfall, but that PP Islands, Maya Bay, just incredible. But yeah, it was good just to be to have a little edible and just fucking buzz off Thailand, and it's just in all its glory.
Now you're having a cup of tea.
And I'm having a cup of tea in fucking -2 in Bootle. Fucking life comes at you fast, bro.
Should we crack on with some sport then?
Otherwise I'll feel like I'm in a fucking therapy session.
So you watched the Liverpool game, didn't you?
I didn't watch the first one. I was on a flight on the first one. I watched the Bournemouth game though, yeah. Yeah, shout out to the Irish bar, by the way, in near Patong Bay in Phuket. Lad there, Declan, got an Irish bar over there. He invited me over, which was great. Watched that, and just a solid... I thought it'd be a really tricky game now. Bournemouth have been flying, haven't they?
Yeah, so...
I didn't realise how informed they were.
I only realised, like, obviously you don't really watch Match of the Day like we used to, so you don't pick up on every single team and how they're doing and all that until you come up against them, and you have a little look at the form and all that kind of stuff and see whether you're in trouble or not. And then I think they were 11 games unbeaten before they got, like, they were playing us. So it was probably one of our tougher games, even though we normally class Bournemouth as a smaller team. On paper, in terms of how they've been playing, probably one of the tougher games that we had left between January and the end of the season. Besides, like, obviously your big games like, City, Arsenal, Everton and stuff like that. But they were going in with unbelievable form, and they looked like a good team when we played them.
I like that Kluivert as well. I think he's got 2 hat-tricks in about 6-7 games, hasn't he?
I mean, I'm made up he missed that. I'm saying City, but it might have bounced up a little bit, but I thought it was a nailed on goal.
Did you see how similar it was to the Man City one?
Yeah. Like everything that he did in terms of, like, cutting inside, hitting the same post, and obviously the same result of the person on the rebound missing as well. Yeah,
no, it was. I just thought it was great just to get through it. But I don't know about you, I feel like a lot of games now I'll just get through them. It's just like, it's getting to that weird point of the season where I think it arguably becomes a little bit less enjoyable. Because remember that season when we were going for all 4, and it was just like, I think by February, March time, you start stressing about, like, from the Thursday, and you're noticing, like, the group chats, it starts getting a bit more exciting, and the build up, the pressure, everything seems just more intense. And I found myself against Bournemouth just going, like, just fucking win, like, just
we're at
win.
A point now where every game is a big game. So I remember you saying a while ago, like, you saying something to Spiri about, like, oh, I'm going to be going for a couple of pints after the game, it's a big one. She's like, you said that last time. I was like, yeah, but every game is a big game now. No matter who we're playing, 3 points are 3 points. So we need to just either extend that gap or keep that gap the way it is. And as you're saying there, going into games don't fuck it up. Not like, let's enjoy ourselves and see us, put a few past or whatever, especially against a team like Bournemouth it was. Make sure that we come out on top.
Will you imagine that how different the rhetoric was from Liverpool fans at the start of the season? It's like, you know what, new manager, new era.
There wasn't as much pressure, was there?
Not at all. Let's just enjoy it. Let's see what style of football we play. Let's see what he does. Now it's like, fucking hell, do not get beat. Like, let's keep going. And I think this week's the perfect example. You're looking Spurs. It's such a weird game. We're recording the show, and next time we record, we will have played 3 games. League, there's a cup final to play for, Spurs, which obviously we're recording on the Thursday, so we won't know the results. We'll come on to that in a minute. Plymouth in the FA Cup, another cup competition, and then the Derby. So there's 3 things on the line there. And I think you come out, by the time we record next week's show, you're potentially still in 2 cups, in a final of one of them. You've got a Derby out the way, and you've picked up 3 points, and you're still,
not only the Derby, but it's the fact that it's the game in hand.
Game in hand, yeah. So,
that everyone's going, well, we still got a game in hand, but it's the fucking Derby.
I think on that as well, people are saying the game in hand as if it's like fucking guaranteed
nailed
3
on.
points.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be really tough. But yeah, to finish on Bournemouth, I think I was just a bit like, just win.
Yeah, and there was a few plays that stood out as well in terms of, like, plays that we've actually spoken about this season on the podcast, to be fair. I thought Alisson was, like, back to his best. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be at that level for every single game now, but it was good to see him like making the saves that he used to be able to make, making the saves that go, you potentially won us the game there. And then obviously Gravenberch has just been unbelievable. The amount of times that he's here, there and everywhere doing unselfish things in one moment, but then he'll, you know, do a little Maradona turn and take 3 lads on. Like he's got, at the moment, the way that he's playing, he seems to have everything that you could possibly want, considering that he was probably one of the players that we were thinking, let's bench him and get Zubimendi in.
I know, it's mad. I think the really exciting thing for him is he's only 21, 22. So you think he'd potentially be in the middle of the park now for the next 6-7 years for us. Yeah, he's been brilliant, hasn't he? And on Alisson as well, you said. He's had like a stop-start season, hasn't he really, with injuries and stuff, so...
Well, when he came back from the injury, it was like, oof, he's not the same. But it just takes time to get your match fitness, to get your sharpness, to get yourself back into being switched on as much as you need to be switched on.
Yeah.
He was making a couple of, we say errors in comparison to what we're used to for Alisson, and it was just like certain goals you're going, would Alisson of 2-3 years ago probably will have saved that one.
And it's down to his own standards he sets. Why he's getting kind of judged maybe harshly, but just because he has just been immense, hasn't he? But I think it was 3 world-class saves, really, wasn't it, that he made to keep a clean sheet. So yeah, it's good. And
in terms of, like, again, you saying about, like, don't get beaten, make sure that we're going into every game and like being positive but without like going gung-ho. Again, looking at the Liverpool stats, amount of goals that we're conceding is minimal.
Yeah.
Like our form, considering we've got players that we've been highlighting this season as like not performing to their standards of like Robertson, Trent, then you'd expect like, oh, we must be leaking loads of goals. But we're actually not.
I think, would you say, I think that partnership, Van Dijk and Konate, has just gone to another level. I think Van Dijk is having one of those seasons again where he's just like unstoppable. And I think you can't really talk about it now much, but if we do win the league, and who knows, the Champions League, it's going to be hard for Liverpool fans to say it, but like, do you think fans are starting to think, hey, we're better than Klopp's, like, this manager's better than Klopp type thing, in a sense that it's...
I think it's just a moment that the team's in as well, isn't it? Like, so Klopp had some of those players that we've been saying have been amazing this season, like the midfield 3, for example, but he had a season with them. Now, you don't know what he could have done moving further down the line, how much those players have progressed because they've just come on as a professional, or whether it's the fact that Slot's playing him in a bit of a different way. But the styles are different, aren't they? Obviously, in terms of what Klopp was doing the last, like, maybe 3, 4, 5 years, was just making sure that we score more. And as you were saying, you like the chaos of going the game and those games being like a 4-2 or a 3-1 or whatever, whereas Slot's just like, no, I'd rather score less but concede less and keep the game controlled, keep our players in the positions that we can capitalise on as much as we can. And for Klopp, it was like, right, everyone go forward on this attack except for like maybe the back 2.
I don't know whether it felt that good because we'd never won the league before as well. Do you know what I mean? That maybe added to it as well. I do think it'd be really interesting to think that, let's say we do the double, the league and the Champions League, whose team would the fans think was better? This Arne Slot team that does the double, or that kind of 2 seasons where we've done the league and the Champions League in consecutive seasons, the 18, 19, 19, 20. If you kind of had a fantasy world and you had Klopp managing, you know, the Mane, Bobby, Salah, the was it Wijnaldum, Fabinho, Henderson midfield against this Arne Slot team, who do you think would win, and also who would you prefer to watch?
Prefer to watch the Klopp one.
Who would win?
That like if we're thinking about the season that we won the league, like some of those games we were unplayable.
Oh God, yeah.
Like some of those performances were better than anything we've seen before, and possibly anything that we've seen since.
I think that the goal against Man City, I think is it Robinson, encapsulates just what a kind of team that was. It starts off, these about 30 passes, and there's a couple of long crossfield passes. Yeah, it
goes across to,
and then it's Robert, I think,
and Firmino, and then, when they have their little bit.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, like I think that was just how good Man City were as well. Like you say, that football we played around them was unbelievable, and it's. Listen, if you can get a couple of trophies on a slot, it will be a conversation to be had in the future, won't it? Whose team was better? But
I think if he keeps all the players that we've currently got, and they keep getting this identity that they've built pretty quickly, because again we've mentioned like it's similar to Klopp's, but there's tweaks. So Slot hasn't had to do loads of work with it because the foundations were already there. But with moving forward, if we get to keep those players that obviously out of contract and all that kind of stuff, and we don't lose any more, and we bring in a couple of little sprinkles here and there, Slot could have a really strong like 5-6 years.
Yeah.
But it's just whether that can continue and whether players will go, you know, I want to test myself somewhere else and all that kind of stuff.
That's what I mean. If that Gravenberch stays and let's say he wants to go to Spain at 27, 28, we've still got 5 or 6 years out of him there. So there are benefits to be had, aren't there, with the kind of the foundation that have been laid there by Klopp already. You say it's whether what signings can be made, just tweak it, but at the minute you just can't complain, can you? I seen Robbo talking on the overlap. It's like, it's just a fucking great position to be in, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like I'm buzzing, but like you say, I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to not enjoy it, but it's like you get a bit more nervy,
yeah,
in the days before. And then obviously we've got the Spurs game tonight, haven't we? You're going to be there, I won't be. How shit they are in the league, you'd expect us to win, wouldn't you? But I think the pressure on Spurs on this kind of just, they need to get a trophy, I think could...
This is the biggest game of their season, isn't it?
Yeah.
I know, weirdly, it's not the biggest game of ours. That might play a role. The fact that they've been woeful and they're sitting in the league where they're currently sitting, that should be a point of our players going, right, let's not do what we did last time against them and just like be passive in front of them. We know how shit they can be. Everton scored 4 against them.
That's what I mean. If we end up getting...
Was it 4-2? 3-2?
4, wasn't it?
Was it?
I think it was 4. I don't know, but yeah, I couldn't believe that result. If we don't go through, it'll be just... You'd be gutted, wouldn't you, really? It's a proper chance miss. Knowing that Newcastle's in the final as well.
There's nothing better than being able to go on a little cup run and then finish it off by a little trip to Wembley or wherever.
We know ourselves as fans having that trip to Wembley, and is it March, is it? February? It's the end
March
of February.
the 15th.
Is it, yeah?
It's normally the end of February, but it's being pushed back this year.
Lad, that's the weekend of the fucking... You are kidding me. What date's the final?
15th.
That's the... No, it's not. I thought that was the Liverpool half marathon.
No, that's 23rd.
Oof.
I think it's the 23rd.
That would have been getting swerved.
Do you really think Phil would be doing a half marathon if there was a potential trip to Wembley?
Thankfully it's the week 8 later anyway, so yeah.
You'll have to be on the zeros for that one, lad.
Fuck off, lad. Yeah, so listen, the fact it's Newcastle's in the final, it'd be a great game. It'd be nice to play just someone that's not Man City in the final. Man
City or Chelsea. It just seems to be that we just go down to Wembley and play one or two of those teams.
Do you know what as well? I want to sound like an absolute knob saying this, but I wouldn't be that arsed if... Well, I would. I'd be devastated. But it would be good, wouldn't it, to see Newcastle Tottenham in the final? If it's like... Do you know, I don't know what I mean is if... Like,
if we can't win.
If we can't win it.
Why? Just because it's two different teams than are
it's
normally
not like Chelsea
there.
and Arsenal or fucking Chelsea and Man City or... You know.
Yeah, because a lot of the neutrals are probably thinking, fucking hell, Liverpool are there again.
That's all I mean, yeah. Obviously, it's fucking hell, I want us to get there and beat and batter Newcastle. But I just mean, yeah, from that neutrals perspective, I'm glad it's not City, Arsenal, Chelsea.
And it'll be, if we do win, it'll be one of those times where the League Cup final, both sets of fans are going to sell out.
Yeah. Oh, God,
Because what we've seen when we've played City in the past and sometimes like maybe a Chelsea or whatever is, their fans, because, again, we were talking about this the other week about City, they've been so spoiled that they go, League Cup can't be arsed. Whereas, regardless, you're going to get all of us scraping around for tickets and stuff like that. Yeah. And I remember a couple of years ago, City were giving their tickets back to the FA to then sell on to either neutrals or trying to pass it on to Liverpool fans and make the Liverpool section a little bit bigger. Just
a quick one off subject. On the thing of tickets, slid into me little mate Jordan's WhatsApp, and I'm going to Amsterdam next weekend. And
well, aren't you glad that he fucking stayed then?
Oh, so funny, right? So we're going to Amsterdam, and only like 2 nights, get dead cheap flights, can't you? So went over there. And I thought, wouldn't it? I'd text them randomly a few days before, just being like, all right, mate.
Chin up, son.
No, this was before it all happened.
Oh, before the other week?
Yeah. So I just said, all right, mate, I'm going to be in Amsterdam in February if you want to catch up. And he went, oh, yeah, mate, I don't know what the schedule, what day you're coming, but yeah, we'll have a catch up. And he said, oh, if there's a game on, check, I'll get you tickets for the game. And I looked, and it's when they're playing, they're at home. Against that, is it Hercules, or they're called something like that, aren't they? It's not Hercules, obviously, but it's spelt like that. So I was like, fucking hell, yeah. So I was like, oh, happy days, nice one, yeah, I'll let you know, closer to the time. So I was like, happy days, Henderson's going to sort us, Jhon's going to sort us some tickets, great. And then about 4 or 5 days later, it's like he's going to Monaco. I was like, fucking hell, Jhon, what are you doing here too?
Not only was it that, it was
what
like,
happened to it?
He got stripped of the captaincy, he was like trying to force a move and all that kind of stuff, and then obviously he stayed in the end. Then he did that weird press conference the other day, did you see it?
I didn't think it was weird on his part.
I thought it was mad that
they're like that though, aren't they?
The journal was allowed to just crack on and keep going and going. You'd imagine like if
the press officer goes, hang on, that's enough now.
But it was like, yeah, go on. Press officer just sitting there, popcorn.
I heard a conspiracy that it was to do with the tax haven status. Obviously, he's got his money from Saudi.
I mean, that wouldn't be surprising because he didn't get paid, did he? Or he deferred his pay for 6 months or something like that, wasn't it?
It's all the tax implications, and I know fuck all about tax, but it's like Monaco's another tax haven, isn't it? Who knows what it was about, but I'm just more sitting there going, fucking hell, lad, you said you saw me tickets last week and now you're not even going to be playing for them. But I've not spoken to him since, so I'll message him next week and see if he's going to still sort me them or not.
He might not have that pull anymore.
Got a mate coming over. Fuck off, lad, you're not getting any tickets now, you want to go?
Might not even play.
I'm going to still text him and say, like, can you still sort me a ticket? So I'll be doing that not next week, the week after, hopefully. Is it week Sunday? Yeah, week Sunday I'll be there. But yeah, and then Plymouth in it on Sunday. So you just expect us to come back to Plymouth, wouldn't you? You
do, and you'd hope that it will be with players that are rotated massively.
He's gone on loan. Dan's. It would have been a good game for him, wouldn't it?
Well, yeah, but it would have been a good game for him. But then how many other games would he get between now and the end of the season? Or can he go and play near enough every week or every other week or whatever on loan? And we'd get a better version of him when he came back.
Oh, yeah,
so in the short term, he would be going, do you know what? Nice, easy, or easy-ish game for Liverpool here. I definitely would have got a game there. But after that, then what?
Yeah. The only thing I worry, and I hope I'm completely wrong on this, but it's like, as we've seen in the past, you've got to be world class to be a Liverpool striker, haven't you?
Well, we've seen, just a Liverpool player in general. Because even like, Tyler Morton nearly got sold like the beginning of the week, and it's at a point now for him where he'll know I'm not going to be staying here. So, and that he's a good player.
Yeah.
He's just not a great player.
I always think there was a striker as well. You look at remember Adam Morgan when he was ripping her up at certain like youth levels, and you expect him to make. You just assume if he's that good at that age level, he's going to be just as good when it doesn't always happen, does it? You're just hoping Dan's is like.
Dan's is showing a lot more promise of not just being a good goal scorer, but like he's very good on the ball. His feet are good. His movement's good. He's great in the air. He's got loads of attributes that make him a well-rounded footy player. And if his loan goes well and he gets that experience, he'll probably will get more chances next season. Especially if potentially we get rid of Núñez and stuff like that, and whoever we bring in. The rotation that we can currently do means that Dan's wouldn't have got much time.
Oh no, yeah, totally.
Whereas this time last season, we had Salah out, we had Núñez out. We were scraping round for players, and obviously that's why with the League Cup final we had the kids playing.
What a day that was.
Now if we cut to the League Cup final, which we could potentially get into next month, we might have a full squad. We've only got Trent who's missing at the moment, touch wood.
Yeah, but it's Sunderland he's gone to, isn't it?
Yeah.
You just hope he rips it up there, don't you, and actually gets another chance there next pre-season. But yeah, fingers crossed, because it's obviously everyone knows it, don't you? But you'd love to see just loads of local lads playing, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You just hope he's good enough.
Well, we've got this game, obviously, again, as you were saying, we're recording on the Thursday morning, so we've got the Spurs game and the Plymouth game. You'd hope we go full strength Spurs, or near enough close to full strength, and then Plymouth should be fringe players with a couple of senior heads just to control the game, maybe through the spine and all that kind of stuff, so that everybody is fit for Everton. Everton is absolutely massive.
I am shitting myself for it.
This is potentially one of the biggest derbies in terms of us needing the points, and they're on a good reign of form. But the last one at Goodison as well.
Yeah.
Moyes is back. There's so many more things that are added to the fact that this is being pushed back.
I think you bang on. I think it's the biggest derby for years, given what we're playing for, the league. Given it's the last, like you say, one at Goodison. Moyes being back, I think it's going to be absolutely mental.
I remember when we were in school and there was like lads who were Everton fans going, "Oh, it's just different. Goodison under the lights with a Moyes team," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's just the fucking same now." That's exactly what's going to happen on Wednesday next week. I
know Gary and Neil have been talking on that, but I'm more nervous now with Moyes being there than I was with Dijk.
It's one or two ways in it. So the way that they're playing is a lot more positive. The players have got loads of confidence at the moment. We'll see what happens with the Bournemouth game, whether he kind of tries to go with momentum and keep the majority of the players still playing, or whether he goes, right, do a sacrifice a couple of them with my eye on the derby. You just don't know. The two lads, Neil and Gary, were saying no chance. Like everyone should be starting against Bournemouth, and then we'll see what happens for the derby.
Would you be more nervous if it was Moyes or Dijk?
I think the game itself would have been harder in terms of the playing styles with Dijk, because he would have just been doing what he did against, was it Chelsea and Arsenal, was it?
Yeah, and City, I think.
And where he was just like, let's just get everyone behind the ball, make it dead hard for them. I reckon it would have been that for near enough 90 minutes. And then maybe even they tried to push on
but I would have
the last 5 or 10.
I would have backed us though to still score though, if against Dijk. I know what you mean.
I'd back us to score more against this Moyes team.
But lads, I've got bad memories of David Moyes though, you know. I think, listen, and I'll be saying this to fucking Gary when I see him already, like over the text in the group chat. I just think so many, not all blue noses, but so many of them are massive hypocrites. Because I said for years, so Moyes got them, you know, doing brilliant, and then obviously got a chance to go to United, which every manager is going to do, by the way. And then Everton, all right, yeah, they had big managers in like Ancelotti and stuff like that, and Rafa, but they never ever reached the heights that they got under Moyes. And every time I spoke to a blue, and I said, why don't you just go back for Moyes? You know, you'd had your best time under him. Oh, now we're too big for Moyes now. Oh, he took us as far as we could go. Nah, I don't know what you're talking about, lad.
I reckon it's more of a don't go back to what you've already had, because it was so good under Moyes. I don't want that to be tainted. So I wouldn't want Moyes back, because what if that taints
every
that?
blue I spoke to, it wasn't like it's going to be tainted. It's like, oh, we're too good for him now. And I'm looking at them now going, well, he's come in and he saved us. Because I thought they were going to go down. I really did under Dijk. He's come in and he's done great for them. And I think now, from what I remember from Moyes last time, I think this will be a really, really tough game. And I think it would have been a lot easier if Dijk was there. So I'm nervous for it. Like,
I think defensively we're going to struggle a little bit more against the Moyes team than a Dijk team. I don't think we would have had to be concerned too much defensively against a Dijk Everton. I think it would have just been a case of we clear our lines to Beto, try and get him to chase a ball, and then it just comes back to us. Some of the goals that they have been scoring, they've been doing well. Some of the goals they scored the other day, they were through the middle as well. And I think our midfield three should be able to kind of counter that bit. They'd have to go over the top a lot more than they did the other day. They played it through a couple of times for, I think it was for the Beto goal, for both Beto goals actually. I don't reckon they'd be able to do that against Liverpool. But I do think defensively, not that we're going to struggle, but it'll just be a little bit harder against a Moyes team than a Dijk team.
Yeah, I think just the confidence that they've all got now, the players, they're almost not even in a relegation fight anymore. Those just shows you've done it, just a few quick wins and you kind of are up there, points-wise anyway. I think the confidence that they've got, I think the Goodison impact, that is the last one.
I think, yeah, the Everton fans going to that game, the tails will be up because of the last few games that they've had. The atmospheres have been good in those games that they've won. There's a feel-good factor about it. They'll be going into that game not thinking, well, we need to win this to make sure that we don't get relegated. It's, let's make sure that we try and halt Liverpool's party as much as we can.
I'm bring the last derby ever down at Goodison, go out on a victory. I'm proper. I think a draw.
I'd take one. Definitely take one.
Like we said before, everyone's been saying for so long, we got game in hand, as if it's a guaranteed 3 points. I'm like you. I would take a draw now, knowing that we've got to play them at Anfield as well. I'd fancy us obviously a lot more there, but I think given the circumstance with Moyes, last game at Goodison, the run of form Everton are playing, I just think take a point and move on.
Defo.
I'd take that anyway. Sounds a bit negative that, but I'm just a big fan of Moyes. Like I think Everton fans were mad to kind of turn their noses up at him for years. I think West Ham fans were mad getting rid of him, giving them the European Cup. I think fans in general just can be very fickle, can't they?
Fans can be fickle, and some of the times when Moyes could have come back, they did get decent managers in. Then it got to a point where they needed managers that had experience of relegation battles. So then they had to get like, your Allardyces, your Dyches and stuff like that. Then obviously that hasn't worked for the Dyche thing this season, and he himself was like, I can't anymore. And then I think it's a perfect time for Moyes to come in. Because for him, it's a bit of a win-win. He knew he'd keep them up. But at least now, first few games, he's absolutely flying. He's already gained that credit in the bank with some of the fans that might not have wanted them back.
Totally, yeah.
They've won 3 out of 4. The tails are up, and
I think the fact he gets to take them into the new stadium is massive. I wouldn't have liked it if he just got to the end of the season and then some new foreign manager comes in, and it's nice. I think that it's going to be Moyes.
Well, I think in his first press conference or his second one, I think he said something like, I'm the kind of person who knows a lot about the club and I care about the club. And then he kind of countered himself a little bit by saying, like, not that the other managers didn't, but, what like the community and Everton felt about Moyes when, like, in his first in. So if he can come back, stay there, get into the new stadium, I think it's a win-win for everyone, really.
Yeah. And by the way, I will say on record, as I have been saying on record, that they'll go down. I have fully changed my mind on that now. I think they will stay up. But
you didn't put any money on it?
No, but I was convinced they were going down though, if they'd kept Dijk. But I think they will be alright now.
So again,
unfortunately,
it's a good situation for Dijk to be in as well, because he's gone out with a form of dignity of, I've left it in somebody else's hands.
Yeah, well, he hasn't got a relegation on his bloody CV anymore, has he?
Exactly.
Which I think, honestly, it was nailed on it.
I think looking back, like when Everton fans look back at the time that Dijk has had, he's done a lot with very little.
Oh God, yeah.
He did keep them up, and he allowed them to be in the position that they are now. And whether it's with Moyes or the next manager, they probably will now be out of that kind of battle for a good few seasons, I reckon.
I think so. If they get to the new stadium as well, the new ownership, some players, bit of stability.
That new stadium's an attraction in itself for new players coming in.
Oh God, yeah. I think they'll be fine now. Other stuff, Man City, Arsenal.
Did you watch it?
Yeah. Did I watch it? No. No, I never. Just saw the highlights.
I think that the scoreline flattered Arsenal a little bit.
Yeah, I was going to say the highlights I saw, there was large periods where City were on top.
Yeah, City were just like, in little bits, they were just terrible in possession. And taking risks that they probably shouldn't have needed to take and stuff like that. Like the way that normally they pass it out from the back and they're nice and comfortable, calm and all that kind of stuff. As soon as they lost that first goal because of that, they were still kind of persistent with it. And you just think, you know what, for a little bit of confidence, let's just get the ball up a little bit more.
Yeah.
But they did control good portions of the game. It definitely wasn't a 5-1 game. Arsenal had some good finishes, to be fair, and Arsenal could have scored a couple more as well. Like Havertz had a couple of chances and things like that. I think the game itself summed up where both teams currently are in a mental capacity rather than like just about how they play the game. I think City's confidence during that game just wilted.
Yeah. It's mad, the change in them, isn't it?
Yeah. We were saying the other week, weren't we, like it'd be nailed on if City went behind or even 2 goals down. You were like, well, I may as well throw a little few quid on City to win, because at least it's a win-win situation there.
Yeah. No, but they just haven't got that at all, have they? I think, again, by the way, that reel like you done, it's like about 300,000 people fucking giving me shit. On the last time I had
the Pep Christmas one.
Yeah. Oh,
it's the Uncle Gary shouts that I like, you know. Gary got abused and he wasn't even in the clip.
Well, so yeah, the other week when I did have a moan, I'm going to have another moan about him, but it's like, I won't go on like, as much type thing, but yeah, that one we got last time, so many people were rattled. As it stands at the moment, 347,000 people have liked it, and there's been 651 comments. The comments are pretty 50-50. People agreeing with me, then people disagreeing with me, and then me just getting called a scouse bin dipping cunt as well for a lot of them. But anyway, that thing, the whole Man City thing, I think Pep has got a lot to answer for, though. I think letting a striker go and just leaving Haaland, given, you know, he has obviously had a couple of injuries, nothing too major, but then just relying on him staying fit and then relying on him scoring every week, I just think it's just such a mad decision.
Yeah.
And I just think I know he's obviously going through a lot in his personal life. I've seen he's just finalised a divorce and stuff, so you know, obviously unfortunate for him what he's going through, but I just think he's made some mad decisions football-wise.
I think as well, when you're playing Haaland, there's not many changes you can make tactically to kind of figure a game out. So if it's not working, it's not going to work.
That's what I mean.
Whereas last season, it was like, well, we can make a couple of changes here because personnel can be changed, and then formations and tactics can be changed. You can't really change tactics if you're keeping the same player up front on his own and his main like threat is either in behind or like from across.
Yeah.
You're not getting him to come in and play, because that's not his game. Similar to what we were saying a couple of weeks ago with Nunes. Nunes can't come in and drop in and play the nice, neat stuff. He's got to be direct, similar to Haaland. The thing with Haaland is, last couple of seasons, he's been getting that service. He's been getting those opportunities. The amount of times that you just see him breaking a line and running through and just slotting it dead easy. He hasn't been getting that kind of service this year. So because those other players haven't been performing, his stats aren't as good. Are we still up there? I think he's still
second or third, isn't he?
I think it's Salah, Isak, then Haaland. I don't know whether that's goal contributions or whether that's actual goals, but it makes a massive difference if you can't really change much up front. And they highlighted that on Sky. They were like, look how many touches he's had.
That shout that Roy Keane done, I think, is becoming more and more obvious about. He's got like the general football ability of like a League Two player, an unbelievable finisher.
He's great at what he's great at.
Yeah,
but he's not an all-round player.
He's very mediocre in other aspects of his game, isn't he? And
that's where if you add different attacking options, you can just take him out the firing line a little bit if he's not playing great. But also, it just makes the defenders think of something different at 60 minutes.
Yeah.
If you've dealt with them quite well for the majority of the game, your confidence is going to be high anyway.
It is, and I think that's what's one of the issues are for City. It's like when it's not working, there doesn't seem to me to be another plan. So it's like if, for whatever reason, they're not getting the ball into Haaland enough, it's looking at he's then kind of not doing as many runs because he's thinking, I'm not getting anyway. I've seen in Thierry Henry highlighting some stuff that he's not making runs that maybe he should have been and stuff, and I just think it's I've seen that conspiracy as well, Gareth as well, talking about it, where it's like City arguably kind of know something's coming for them. That's why half the players want to leave and half the players are kind of tools down and stuff, and you don't know, do you, if something is on the horizon. And it's
the thing is though, they can't have something on the horizon when they've just give Haaland 9.5 year deal and they've brought in £180 million worth of players in this window. You can't be doing that while those things are still hanging over you. They must know something.
But if you know though, right, if you know that you're going to get, say, a 20 points deduction, right?
So you think, let's just cram everyone in before we get our transfer ban for a couple of seasons?
Maybe. And also, what's the point in going hell for leather every game now and beasting ourselves when we can't win the league anyway? I think there's a little bit of that.
So is that a player thing or a management thing where it's like, well, if we can't win it, then it's funny, like it was on a film, Talladega Nights. It's like if you're not first, you're last. So like if you're not winning, what's the fucking point? So do you reckon any of those players have got that in them?
Listen, it's a difficult one, isn't it? Because you're thinking what player would not want to give it 100% and all that. But what I mean is that we've seen it ourselves when Liverpool, they're going, and they get so close, but not quite. It takes it out of them next season, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I think if there's a chance where City think that they're going to get... Like, City going into the start of this league knowing that they might only win it by, 5 points. It's going to be like a close season type thing, given how Arsenal pushed them last season. So City know it's going to be a close season. If they've kind of been warned off, look, the minimum you're looking at is a 10, 20 point deduction. I don't know how you get into the mindset and being like, let's go hell for leather, knowing how much it takes out of you. Let's say if City go do a 99 point season, right, and every week they're pushing it. Liverpool or Arsenal are on like 98, 97, City are on 99 again. But they know they're going to get a 10 point deduction. What's the point?
And it takes them back down to third or whatever.
What's the point in like knowing that you're gonna like it will take its toll next year? And a lot's been made of this new championship that they've got in the summer and how little rest the players are going to have, etc. Listen, I could be talking absolute shite, and I probably am, but I just think if you kind of know, like if you're having a break, you're having a sprint or something, and there's like another few rounds to go. You're not giving it all your effort on your first one, are you? It's a bit like you almost play the grey man a bit, thinking you can't win anything now, so what's the point? And save yourself for next season. I think there might be a bit of that in it.
And just call it a transition season or whatever.
Yeah.
Just chalk it off.
When Liverpool got so close to the season, we come like fourth the next season, didn't we? And you could see the players were just drained. The manager, one of the reasons the bloody manager left, he was just so tired with it. Pushing, being that relentless every season. If you knew there was a chance that you're going to have a break, and that's the thing, at the end of the season, if City get a 20 points deduction, in a few years' time, no one will remember how crap City were. They'll just go, oh yeah, they finished fifth, so they finished 10th, oh yeah, because they had a points deduction. No one will remember they were actually quite shit anyway. Do you know what I mean? That's my little conspiracy theory anyway.
So, based on the back of that as well, by the way, something popped up the other day, and it was that we were saying the other week about obviously Pep at Christmas and all that, and with the ball games, and if he's not doing well, he just kind of jumps in and throws more money at it. It does look like that's happened again a little bit.
I used to say I told you so.
This transfer window, so they've spent 180 as one team. The rest of the Premier League have spent about 270. So other 19 teams clubbed together have spent just 90 million more than City.
How can anyone go against what I said about Pep the other week though? He's having one bad season in 7 or 8 seasons he's been there. He's having one bad season, and they've went and spent 180 million in January, right? Like you say, compared to the 270 from the other 19 clubs. When Liverpool had a bad season, did we bring in Klavan, a fucking centre half or something?
No, so when we had our injuries, it was Kabak.
Oh, that was him.
And Ben Davies. And I think that was for like a combined 3 million, or not even 3 million, just under 3 million.
That's the levels.
And to be fair, Davies didn't even end up getting a sniff. We ended up putting Henderson or Fabinho at centre half instead.
He went back to Preston, didn't he, or something? How you can even say it's like comparable? It's a. By the way, this isn't a team that's having a bad season. That's just had 180 million spent on it. It's a team that's won the last 4 league titles, a couple of Champions Leagues, there's 1 or 2. Anyway, how they can have another 180 million spent on it and everyone goes, oh yeah, he's the greatest manager ever. Honestly, you're on those edibles I had in Thailand last week if you think Pep is that good, and I think it's getting proved now. Honestly, I think it's and what do we all do? Do we all just sit here and go, yeah, he's great? Because that's another reason I think they're getting the players in now, is because they're just treating it as a transition season. Because if they don't get the players in until the summer, obviously you're bedding them in now. They're going to have 6 months now getting bedded into this team.
And he could be off to a flyer next season. Yeah,
knowing that they're not playing for nothing. They got all the new players to bed in. And I think that the reason they spent so much money in January, they've thought, we won't spend it in the summer. Let's bring the summer forward, get all the players in we want now, and then we'll have a good pre-season with all the players we want. Because we know we're not going to get as much of a big pre-season because of that World Club Championship. This is a nothing season. It's not as if we're signing players and they've got to, hit the ground running. I think...
For all we know, like, obviously they didn't do too well in the first stage of the Champions League, but You only need to string a few wins together, really. Yeah. Now that we're at the knockout stages, well, they're in the playoffs first, but from like team against team, they'll back themselves against most.
Exactly, and I think the City.
Do they put all their eggs in that basket instead and go, well,
potentially?
Because Pep's already said the league's out of question.
Well, they're only going to get better, aren't they, as the season goes on? Now with these added players, how can you throw 180 million at a team and it not get better? You know, they are going to improve. So the Champions League might be the one for them. Because I honestly do just think no one's ever going to say it publicly, but I do think that they've just said, look, this is a nothing season. Let's just kind of, still play and still try and perform, but they're not breaking the backs, are they? In each game.
And if they are going to get hit with any deductions, they'd hope that it was this season then.
Exactly.
Because imagine if proceedings took longer and then they've sacrificed this season, but then they start next season with like -10 before they've even started.
It's not like the maddest conspiracy theory ever, because what's the point in... Yeah, you see it in business type thing. Obviously with this new government, they brought in a lot of taxes for business owners and stuff like that. It's arguably a little bit like, you've got a great business idea, and then the government goes, okay, yeah, whatever, but we're going to tax you X amount on whatever you do, and we've raised the taxes, for example. Or you can go and set up a company in another country and you pay less tax type thing. What's the point in you fucking working so hard that you know straight away you're getting X amount took off you? Or you can maybe start again next year or in another country and have a proper go. I think that's what they've done. They're thinking, what is the point in going hell for leather and all that? Let's just give it a season.
So City to win the league next year, is that what we're saying?
Probably, yeah.
No, Liverpool.
Depends on if our three fucking superstars. No one's been talking about that contract situation.
No. Apparently it came out the other day that somewhere, probably again, just someone tweeting something and everyone else just jumping on it.
It's not like that fucking...
Not like Twitter, yeah. Like there's rumours circulating that 2 out of the 3 have already done it. People are then saying it's probably going to be Van Dijk and Salah, and then people are then using, see what Fowler said the other week on Ben Foster's podcast, and he said, like, why would he come out and say 2 of them are signed and then Trent get even more shit? Yeah. The best saying, like, we haven't got anything yet. Trent, thankfully for the last few weeks, hasn't had that heat on him now, has he?
No.
That he had like around the United game. So that's kind of died down a little bit. The contract stuff has died down again. People were saying, if Liverpool are playing well, you're not going to talk about it as much. As soon as Liverpool have a little dip in form, which they did at like early January, then it's like, fucking hell, these players haven't even signed as well. Yeah. So the issue's still there.
The only thing that scares me, right, and I do as well, I think it's a great little way of thinking that 2 of them have signed, and I totally get it by not coming out saying it, so Trent doesn't get any shit if it's him that hasn't signed. However, the only little caveat I'd say is, if you are going to leave, you go out on a high, don't you? And it's like, if we do the double, or even a treble, with the League Cup and or the FA Cup, it is the perfect time to go, isn't it?
It is. But I don't know whether that, as a player, you go, well, we've just won that with the first version of this slot team. Could this potentially get better?
Or you go, Man City aren't going to do an off Man City season never again. I don't know. Listen, everyone says you go out on a high, don't you? You go out leaving people wanting more. This would be, as much as it breaks my heart to say, if you are Trent, if you're Mo, if you're Virg, you just bring home, God forbid, that all 4 of them, the quadruple. What more can you do? What more can you do? You've just won 4 competitions. Your last ever games at Anfield, parading 4 trophies around. You may as well just stick a fork in me. I'm done. I'm ride off into the sunset. That's the only thing that scares me.
Yeah, and if that is the case, then you'd hope that people higher up in the club have been told this might happen, so that they're ready to try and bring people in.
That'll be the big thing.
You don't want it to be like back end of the season, like even going into like maybe the summer, they still haven't signed anything, and we're then scraping round to try and plug 3 massive gaps. Trent's not so much because Bradley's okay.
Yeah, I would say...
And potentially can be a lot better going further down the line.
Just on the transfers though as well, I'd be shipping Núñez out, and I'd be throwing another 40, 50, 60 million and going for Isak.
His value is going to be insane in the summer. If he carries on, that valuation that you're saying there, if you're saying that valuation...
120, 130 should get him, do you not think?
I don't know, mate. Football's mad, isn't it?
I think you'd get him for 120.
Do you know your thing is Saudi have kind of skewed everything that Matoma was potentially going for 90 million
it's madness.
The other day. Yeah. And we were getting offered, 70 for Núñez the other week. So the amount of contributions that Isak is providing than a Núñez, for example, what value does that then give him?
But if you can get 60, 70 million for Núñez, it's not as if, we're having to then spend 150 million type thing, is it?
It also depends on whether that offer's still there in the summer. If it's not a Saudi club, I don't reckon anyone is spending that amount of money on Núñez.
Where does he go as well? He's not going to a massive club, is he?
See how he gets on the rest of the season.
I hope I'm wrong about him, but I'm done with him. Like, do you know what he's like? And I've seen sometimes, someone has a pop at Núñez and then he scores the week after, and it looks like you're stupid for saying it. I will continue to say he's not good enough to be at Liverpool. Does not mean I don't want him to do well. Obviously I do. But, alright, Origi. I fucking love Origi. Do I want him playing up front every week? No. Did he score some great goals and give us some great results? Yeah. I just think Núñez is a poor man's Divock Origi. He's about as clinical as Origi. I wouldn't even say that. He's Origi without the... In fact, you know what? He's very similar to... Because he has got big goals in him, hasn't he?
I think that's what we'll get from him for the rest of the season, is we'll get moments from him where you go...
Moments, yeah.
That's why he's there. Similar to what I was saying before of the Haaland thing, we'd be the opposite. So we'd have 70 minutes of trying to play through teams and stuff. If that's not happening, it's like, right, let's get Núñez on. Let's be a little bit more direct. Similar to when we played Brentford the other week, where it was like, let's get him causing a little bit of trouble up there, and he did end up bagging himself a couple of goals. That's probably what he's capable of doing, rather than starting week in, week out.
Exactly, but that's the difference though, isn't it? You pay 70 million for him. You don't want to have a bit par player who comes on 20 minutes and causes chaos and gets you a big goal and have a big moment. You want a Salah type player, don't you? If you're paying that much money, up to 100 million for him. And that's why I think, God love him, he tries his best and all that, but apart from, like you just said, those moments, I don't think he's got a future at the club. And for himself, he wants to be the main man. He's 25, 26, whatever he is. He want to be playing week in, week out, won't he? And I just don't think he's good enough for Liverpool.
I think the style of footy that we're currently playing, it's not a number 9's game, is it? Like, you're playing Diaz up front in the middle, but he's playing more like a 10 than a 9 or not even a false 9, because he's dropping in. You got Szoboszlai going further forward. That's then creating bit of confusion with their centre halves. It's then freeing up a little bit of space for Salah down the right hand side. Like, it's no coincidence that Salah's getting well more time on the ball compared to last season, when we were playing a different system where we've got like 5 midfielders rather than having like 3.
You've seen Gakpo coming in as well, getting goals as well. There's so many opportunities, and it's just not his style of play, is it? And I think
our striker isn't our leading goal scorer, and Gakpo the last couple of weeks has shown he can get loads of joy down the left. Salah's got loads of joy down the right, and it's probably because defenders don't know what to do with Diaz. Are they dropping with him and creating that space there, or do they stay where they are and allow him to be free in that like 10 role, for example? And
that's why it's been so good, hasn't it? Because if you're a defender, you've got Mo cutting in, Gakpo cutting in, and at times you've probably got Jota dropping in, fucking Diaz at times when he's even on the pitch at the same time going forward, and then added to the mix of the midfield.
And then you got Szoboszlai being up there a lot more than he was last season.
Whereas all that kind of stuff makes very intricate passing, good movement, all of which Núñez does not have.
Yeah, he hasn't got that in his locker.
He hasn't got that little, that cute first touch, has he, around the box. And even if he does get himself into decent positions and stuff, he's not a natural finisher anyway. So yeah, I would he'd be on my list as well. To regardless what happens with Mo, I'd break the bank and get Isak.
And we'd have to see what happens with Jota as well. Like, currently he's fit.
Lad, I love him.
At time of recording, he's fit.
I love him.
We could see after the Spurs game that he's out for another 5-6 weeks. Like, and again, as we were saying, what's the point in having such a good player if you can't utilise him?
I would sadly bet £100 now that he's injured again before the end of the season. It's an easy bet, isn't it?
I reckon so, like.
Yeah, which is unfortunate because I love him.
But you wonder whether that's a mental thing or whether it is a physical thing or whatever. I remember people saying, like, was it Sturridge? They couldn't find anything physically wrong with him, but he kept talking about a particular pain or injury or something.
He was going on my hamstrings a bit. I can feel my hamstring, and Gerrard said, "Look, it's United. Fucking shut up. You'll be all right." And he was all right. I think he scored, but he had that in his head of something's wrong with me.
And considering Jota's like he can be a mean fella on the pitch,
yeah. He's great in the air as well, isn't he? He's like a physical specimen, even though he's not that. You know, he's not that tall. You don't look at him and go, wow, but he puts himself about, doesn't he?
He's someone you would want to have in the derby. Like, he's a proper wind-up merchant, isn't he? He'd be horrible to play against.
The derby, again, I'm scared for, like... I'm not saying that purposely go out, but, like, just that venomous atmosphere of Goodison. You know, obviously, the fans are so close to the pitch, or, like, the aggression that then spoils onto the pitch, and then a few tackles go in. I just don't want any of our players to get injured.
Well, I think
that's my biggest fear for the derby.
I think when you were on Gary's derby special, I think was it Gary or Jack had said something like the derbies aren't really like that for Everton anymore. They were always the team that would try and cause an upset by just flying through players and stuff like that. Remember the only time I've been at Goodison, I think Barkley flew through Henderson, and it was just like it wasn't needed, but it was just like fuck it. It's the derby. I'm going to fly through one of their players. And I think Gary or Jack, I can't remember, were saying like the last few years it's not been like that because they've realised if you fly in, Liverpool are just good enough to be like sound, pass, winning behind, easy.
But an old manager though, that Moyes is going to come in when it was like that, so
revert back to type maybe.
Going back to that, but I'm nervous for it.
So speaking of transfers, we just had Jhon Duran as well. Yeah. Going over to Saudi.
It's a fucking mad one, that, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, he scored some belter goals this year. He wasn't even in the starting 11 for Villa for a lot of the time this year. And I think they only bought him for like 20 odd million this time last year. Yeah. So he hasn't been like building up a mad reputation. It's just been like he can score some worldies. And he has been putting a bit of pressure on Watkins for Villa. And because of that, he's probably thinking, I want to be the main man somewhere. So he's gone to a team that's got Ronaldo in.
What I think, yeah, exactly, yeah. What I think's mad is he's only just turned 21 in December. So he played 27 games for Envigado. I'm guessing that's a team in Colombia.
It's a Chicago Fire, did he?
Chicago Fire, where he's played 29 games. And he's played 55 for Villa. But again, a lot of them were off the bench, weren't they? So he's only actually scored 28 goals in his career. And out of that, 12 of them were actually in the Prem. How does that quantify you this big 350 grand a week pay pack? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. It's getting a hot prospect, isn't it? So what Saudi have done a lot of in the last couple of seasons is get players as they're kind of on the way out in the like early 30s, mid 30s, whatever. Now they're probably thinking, well, we've got those players that can now attract an audience, which they're not attracting an audience. The highest attendances have been like in the teens and stuff, on average, 1,000. But now they're probably thinking, well, let's start throwing some money at the younger players to get them in, bridge that gap a little bit, get more eyes of younger fans maybe. But
I don't think that... Listen, no one's watching that now just because he's moved there. And it's a shame. Listen, I'm sitting on the fence a little bit with this one because on one hand you're thinking it's a shame for him, a young, hungry prospect who's clearly very talented. You know, 21 years of age, just turned. He could be in the Prem, get a move to one of the bigger clubs. I'm not saying Villa's not a big club, but, you know, really one of the real big boys and could be a real star in the Prem.
But he's getting his bag right now.
Which, if he's come from, if you believe the reports, the kind of slums where he come from in Colombia, he's turned 21 a month ago. If someone's offering you 350 grand a week at 21, tax-free, no, given where you come from, I think you can't judge him. However, if he's got that much confidence in his own ability, you'd like to think he'd think, you know what, if they're offering me 350 now, they'll be offering me $500,000 in a couple of years.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it in the Prem, and I'll, you know, watch the deal again in a few years. To go there at 21, it is a bit sad to see. But
I think Villa had a tough situation there because they couldn't keep both. They had to lose one of them really because neither of them wanted to be the understudy, the bench player or the rotation player. They both, him and Watkins want to be the
But you'd have not
the
let
main man.
Watkins go though.
It depends on how much money, and it seems to be that Watkins, if he goes, would be to like Arsenal because he's an Arsenal fan and they need a striker, and like 2 and 2 went together and all that. But he is more proven game week, game out for Villa, and for Duran it might be, we don't know how good he is because he's in and out and all that kind. Like obviously the last
he's 29
part of the season,
he's 8 years older than which I think I would have sold Watkins, you know.
And it depends on whether any bids came in for him though as well.
Yeah, but
you don't want.
He almost come out, didn't he, and say like I wanted to go to Arsenal. He's almost come out and said that, didn't he? I mean, the most he's ever scored in a Prem season is 19. Watkins, he's getting you 14, 11, 15, 19, 10 goals. I would have sold him and kept Jhon. But the fact he's 21 and on 350 grand a week, and did you see the report about where he's got to live?
Yeah, do you reckon he looked at the living arrangements before he actually signed up? Or do you reckon it was something that he got told after he'd signed his contract?
After, yeah, listen, lad, he's not asking all these questions, is he? He saw the money, signed, got there, and then he went, oh yeah, by the way, you're not allowed to live with your missus because you're not married. And then he went, fuck. But what's interesting though is Ronaldo is not married to his missus, but they made special compensation for him. And Ronaldo apparently lives in a 17-bedroom hotel with his missus and kids and all his team.
So they'll put it down for, well, it's what's good for Saudi.
Listen, he's got his own law, and Ronaldo does what the fuck he wants, but they're not letting Duran do it.
Yeah, so he's got to fly in every day into training. 90 minutes, yeah. So he's going to live in Bahrain, where the laws are different, and he's got to fly in.
3 hours a day on a plane. Could you be arsed?
No.
It's
that can't be good for you physically, could it? No. Like when you hear of teams like flying and stuff like that, it's like, well, let's try not to fly and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
because
the poor Forest Green owner, what's his name? The guy who owns Forest Green, he's all about green energy and all that. And even on the news, you see, oh look, let's stop driving our cars, let's use public transport more, let's not book so many flights, let's look after the planet. And then the Saudis are just going, right, we're going to pay some 21-year-old 350 grand a week, and we're going to fly him 3 hours a day on a private jet so we can go to training from his house. But in other news, let's try and save the planet.
Yeah, let's be sustainable, everyone.
Yeah, let's be sustainable, unless you fucking Jhon, Duran just flying into training every day. It's bizarre. But and the other thing as well on the Saudi thing, I love how everyone's just forgot that they kill gay people. Like, who's
it's not the only thing. Like, there's plenty of things that they do wrong. But yeah, you're not wrong when it comes to your own interest. It makes a difference, doesn't it?
Not half. Remember when Henderson moved there and all you saw on the news every day was, why are we letting Saudi Arabia do this? Oh my God. Now it's
the thing is with Henderson was that because he publicly was backing causes to promote and to help that community, and then he goes and does that. That's different, I reckon.
No, I disagree, because when Henderson come out and as Liverpool captain, you're a spokesperson for the club and you get asked certain things. So Jordan Henderson's captain of Liverpool, right? He might not have a view on gay people in Saudi Arabia or not. He's just fucking not really ever thought about it. Someone puts a microphone in his face and says, Jordan, what do you think of gay people's rights in Saudi? As Liverpool captain, he's got to answer that, hasn't he? So he's obviously going to say, well, gay people should be treated like everyone else.
I'm not sure it was that though. I might be wrong here, but I thought he was a lot more active.
But you say active, right? I don't know this, right?
But also, as Liverpool captain, he doesn't have to be active. He can do the bare minimum. But I think he was doing more than the bare minimum. And then that's why people are calling him a hypocrite. I'll stand
corrected if Jordan Henderson wakes up in the morning and he said, you know what, I want to really help the gay rights community today, right? If he woke up and he genuinely was like, right, okay, I want to do this, then I agree with you, it's his own fault. But as a captain and someone in a position of power and influence, if he's been approached and said, Jordan, can you put your name to this, please? He can't say no, I don't believe in it, can he? He's almost got to go, yeah, I'll help and support you. So he's kind of found himself in this unfortunate position where he's kind of been on record for saying certain things which now look hypocritical. But what's he meant to do? They come up to him and go, oh, Jordan, what do you think of Gabe? Oh, well, yeah, I don't want an answer. He's got to give an answer, a political answer.
That's why I think it might have been that he was doing more than just answering questions.
Then yeah, fair enough, you're right, if that's the case. But I just think it's hilarious how even with the boxing, with everything that's gone on, we've all very quickly forgot this kind of like sour
because it's within your interest in it. It's like, well, I get to see the best fights, or I get to, well, for us it's not the footy because we're not that arse there trying to bring that up, but if we're getting the best fights and stuff like that, and
people quickly forget,
it's like, well, without that then we're not getting it. Oh, sound, well, that benefits my views or my narrative, then that's great.
On the other thing as well, I was going to say on the fighting and stuff, did you see the Conor McGregor stuff?
No, I haven't seen anything.
So I saw bits. He was in Las Vegas last week, and he's walking. It looks like the Wynn Hotel. I reckon that's the carpet. And he's walking.
Now.
It's not a boss hotel though. I'm sure it's the Wynn. And he's walking, and someone shouts Khabib to him. And McGregor walks up to the lad, and he says something to him, and then he spits in his face, and says, "What are you gonna do? I've just spat in your face, you're not going to do nothing, are you?" While he's surrounded by all his minders, and then turns and walks away. And you're just like, what a fall from grace.
Yeah.
Like, it makes me so sad. He's also had a run-in with another MMA fighter who fought in the PFL. There was an Irish lad, I forget his name. He was from Northern Ireland, and he's held up an Irish flag. And McGregor's then tweeted saying, you know, you're not Irish, get that flag down, which has caused massive, controversy in Ireland.
He said something about Jhon as well, didn't he? Jhon Carroll.
Did he, yeah?
I think he's converted, hasn't he, I think?
Oh, to Muslim, yeah.
Yeah, and I think McGregor's kind of said something, I don't know whether it was about him specifically or just about kind of like people of his faith or whatever. And I did see Jhon posted something like, you were my hero, and like, I can't believe that you're saying this kind of stuff. Like, I thought you were a different person. Like, imagine looking up to someone like him as you're growing up, and potentially even going into like combat sports, because it's like, well, I've seen him do that and I want to do something similar. And then the person who was your hero just basically disregards all of your whole belief system. Yeah. Must be fucking painful to experience that, like.
Oh, so painful. I forget the lad's name, Paul Hughes, I think his name is. He said as well, look, he was a pioneer at the sport I've looked up to. But now he said, I don't really listen to anything he says anymore. And I just think, to have that influence on people, I mean, he was like a god, wasn't he? He was like untouchable. Everyone wanted to be him. Everyone loved him. And just to see what he's become now, where he's spitting in people's faces, offending every fucking religion under the sun. His own Irish people, he's dividing Ireland by saying, Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland, all the issues that they've had over the years anyway. Like, it's like he's got no one around him to go, lad, you need to go to bed.
The thing is, though, you just said there, he's like a god, but with that comes a godlike complex where it's like, I can do whatever the fuck I want. Yeah.
Well, what type of ego do you have to walk up to someone and spit in the face and then say, you're not going to do nothing? Just a proper scumbag move, innit? And it's becoming harder and harder to like him. It's pissed me off now, because I used to have the odd shout of, you look like McGregor, and I used to go, hey, you don't even want to be associated with even a lookalike to him type thing. It's just like, so sad, yeah. But that was his latest one, and he's doing all these tweets, and then he's charlied up, and then he's deleting them and stuff. It's just like,
he's got no control, and that's what happens when you get everything. Yeah, you become this person who feels untouchable and then acts untouchable, and to the detriment of his whole like fan base and
everything though.
His reputation. Everything. He's not arsed. No. He looks like he's just not arsed at all.
No. The other thing as well, the other person who's not arsed, seemingly so, is Emma Raducanu. She's just been smoked in the first round in successive tournaments.
I reckon you've got notifications on her name.
I have, yeah.
You've got push notifications just so that you know everything that's happening with her.
On my flash scores, she got beat in the first round of the Singapore Open and the first round of the somewhere else. So
the other week, on the way to the match, our good mate McKay went, what the fuck is he doing opening a podcast talking about Emma Raducanu? He was like, there's much bigger things happening.
Because I just called it for such a long time, and I said this before, someone messaged me about her and said it was a bit of a conspiracy theory, but when she did win the US Open, it was the COVID time, and a lot of the matches weren't happening because of COVID and stuff. So I think it's a bit of a Leicester City. Emma Raducanu, Leicester City, have you ever seen it?
You know that every Everton fan or City fan are just going to go, well, what about Liverpool?
What about Liverpool?
COVID season.
But again,
we've got that. We've got our arguments of it was 25 points ahead before COVID. So,
but Emma Raducanu's like Leicester, mark my words. And then the last thing to finish is in the darts. Michael van Gerwen and Luke Littler have been having a little bit of back and forth. Luke Littler turned up 45 minutes late to like a press day, which left a few players obviously a bit unhappy. People turning up late. Van Gerwen's turned round and said, you need to stop treating him like he's a baby. He's 18.
Well, that's the thing. If he's going to be able to gain all the stuff that a pro gains from being there, then you've got to act like a pro.
Exactly, yeah. And I think, what people are saying, Van Gerwen's been a bit salty and a bit jealous and a bit bitter. I don't. I just think he's being a man, and he's going, don't be fucking late.
He's being the old head who's been there and done it. And he's like, why is he getting preferential treatment? One, probably because he's the one that's bringing the new eyes in, and they don't want to, disturb the apple cart kind of thing.
Of course, yeah.
But then also it's like, well, he's only 18, and it's like, so, but he's a professional, so he's got to do whatever every other professional is doing.
But because it's Van Gerwen saying it, everyone's going, you're just jealous. Well, he's not. I think he's making a valid point.
And he probably has come out and said a lot of jealous things over the last year or two anyway. Yeah. But I do think he's probably right in this
Definitely,
case.
Yeah. And the good thing for Littler as well is he's having the first game of the season for Warrington Wolves. He's having the stadium named after him.
Yeah, so one of the lads that I teach, he's a Warrington fan, and that was the first thing that he told me. When I saw him the other day, really, he was like, "Oh, you never guess what's going to happen first game of the season." Yeah,
coming out there with a trophy and everything in front of everyone.
Imagine you did something so big that your team had like a day dedicated to you.
They'd boss, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Listen, fair play to him. Just don't be late anymore. Anything else? No,
we got a busy week ahead, so the next time we speak could be
could be
up, or it could be
two cups and fucking drop points in the league, or the quadruple's still on. Fingers crossed it's the latter. Right, Musk, thank you very much, lads. Good to be back.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for the support, everyone. Please, again, if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, get subscribed. Tell your friends about it. Please like, comment, share, and we'll see you next week.
See you later.